Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I should point out that the reason we're slightly late starting this morning is, of course, because the Mayor was late, no doubt, owing to his handling of transport in London. Anyway, I thought I'd get that. But I don't want to be entirely abusive of the Mayor this morning, because I think everybody who cares about the environment, everybody who follows it, knows that he has done some good things and he has said some wise things, and not least that only a ghastly, dehumanised moron would get rid of the route master bus, a point he then proved. By giving himself. I want to be the cleanest, I want London to have the cleanest, greenest, most wonderful environment, and not just because, as Sean was saying, we need to lead the world on climate change, but also because it's the best possible thing for Londoners. So before we talk about the big science and what we're going to do there, let's talk about some of the things that matter to people in their daily lives, like recycling, for instance. And I want to encourage the work of wonderful Tory boroughs like Bexley that have a fantastic record of getting people to come and, in a kind of reverse supermarket, give back in the recycling bays the things they have bought. I want to encourage a crackdown, a competitive crackdown amongst boroughs against fly tipping. I'd like more vertical gardens of a kind that we're starting to see across London, and green roofs. I'd like to see a better effort made to clean up the fuel used by our buses. It seems incredible to me that 8,000 buses used by Transport for London are still emitting NOx and CO2 in such quantities. And I wonder if it has anything to do with the deal done with Petroleos to Venezuela, and if it does, then of course I will reverse it and encourage a move towards hybrid propulsion, which is on the cards. I'm opposed to, above all, to the Mayor's garden grab. And I think the most positive thing we could do for London and for the environment of London is to stop the engulfing of wonderful green spaces in the outer boroughs by the current planning policies. And London has lost gardens 22 times the size of Hyde Park in the last 8 years. And if you care about the aspect of our wonderful garden city, then the last thing you need is a return of this particular mayor with his particular policies on May the 1st. Now, we also need, as Sean was saying, to be trailblazers on climate change. And we must get that right. And I want to park temporarily emitting exhaust, fuming in a corner, the mayor's latest initiative on gas guzzlers, because I think anybody who studies it will concede that it is politically very interesting, but environmentally marginal. And I want to concentrate on what's really going on in London. London produces 11% of the CO2 in this country, approximately the same quantity produced by Switzerland. But the vast bulk of this is produced by either domestic or commercial property. About 38% from domestic property, 31% from commercial property. And that is where we've got to make the big advances. And that's where the real challenge lies for us. And of course we must work hard to reduce emissions from vehicles, but we've also got to look at what's happening with our property. And we should be campaigning, and I as mayor will campaign to make sure that people turn their lights off, not least City Hall, who leave their lights on all night because it has some centralised system of control. And I will make sure that we do far more to insulate our buildings and reduce CO2 output in that way. And there is a lot that can be done. The mayor has tried a lot, but so far it has not been successful. And there's been a pitiful take-up of the insulation schemes that he has offered. And we must do far better on that. I think we should explore new technology to reduce our consumption. And that means if we're going to have all these holes dug for Crossrail, which is a wonderful thing, then why don't we explore the possibility of installing thermal heat pumps and inaugurating a generation system that way? And I put that idea to Ken. I hope that he will take it up in the course of this debate. I think we should encourage the offshore wind farms. The Thames Array is going to produce 1% of Britain's energy needs. Why don't we look at hydroelectric in the Thames? It seems to me at least worth considering. Solar power surely offers long-term prospects for a solution to our renewable energy needs. And of course we must move towards much more systematic use of combined heat and power. And that's why I'm going to insist as mayor that utilities that want to supply electricity in London must accept power produced by CHP, surplus power produced by CHP in return. And any further development of traditional energy generation, such as the King's North Station, must have carbon sequestration. And the incredible, the current mayor has not done more to attack Labour government over that particular policy. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most terrifying conversations I had was with James Lovelock, who said that there was nothing much we could do now. He said we were all doomed. And he said that the best policy we had for the human race, or for the United Kingdom, was for us all to teach ourselves to go out and dig dikes to ward off the coming inundations. I don't believe that. I think that is wrong, and I think we have a duty to protect ourselves and to pass on this wonderful planet in better shape from one generation to the next. And we can do that by changing people's behaviour. We've got to change people's behaviour. And as mayor, I will fire people's imagination and their natural desire to be green and to consume and pollute less. But I also passionately believe in the Promethean genius of the human race to innovate and to sort out this problem. And that's why I will institute a mayoral prize for low-carbon innovation so that London can entrench its position as the financial, technological and intellectual centre of the next green revolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.